For more reaction to this breaking news, Pennsylvania Congressman and House Foreign Affairs Committee member and Iraq war veteran Scott Perry. Congressman, good morning.
Good morning, Cheryl. Great to hear. Great to be with you. And listening to those comments from Vice President Biden, it's just a very clear indicator of why we're happy that President Trump is the commander-in-chief as opposed to someone like President Biden, who would, if past performance is indication of future performance, would allow the constant casualties of American service members, as what has happened in the last administration when Soleimani from Iran was orchestrating the killings of American service members in Iraq over and over again with impunity. They did absolutely nothing to stop him. This is the leader of a terrorist organization coming from a country that is the leading state sponsor of terrorism in the world. No, is anybody questioning why Soleimani was in Baghdad? Why is he, if he's Iranian, why is he in Iraq? And of course, this is being conducted in conjunction with the attacks on the American embassy. And with all due respect to the critics, what would they say if the president just allowed the continued attacks on the embassy and the continued loss of American lives? And I remind everybody that there have been recent losses of American lives in Iraq that are directly tied to Soleimani. So it's completely appropriate.
Now, I wanted to ask you, as a war veteran, your opinion of the death of Soleimani, because it is believed that he was operating shadow operations not just in Iraq, but also in Yemen, also in Syria. And, you know, General David Petraeus, if you go back to 2008, he was talking about the concern of Soleimani and the danger that this man presented to U.S. troops, to the United States. Why was he allowed to continue? Why didn't we do something about this, frankly, sooner, about him?
Well, I think it's because we like the calmness. We like that everything is. We're concerned about markets being in upheaval, about considering everybody and having a conversation with all our partners before we conduct one of these things. And Iran has used that. That administrative state that America oftentimes operates in, even to protect our service members and American citizens. Iran uses that against us, and we've been unwilling to deal with Soleimani directly, quite oftentimes because he's in Iran, and we don't want to provoke Iran. Obviously, we don't want a war with anybody, much less Iran. But that doesn't mean that we can allow Iran or its agents like Soleimani to go around destabilizing the region, destabilizing the world, and killing Americans with impunity. And that's what's happened for decades now. And he can be attributed to the explosive form penetrators that not only killed but injured countless Americans in Iraq and Afghanistan. They're directly attributed to Soleimani, and it's about time. Quite honestly, it's about time that somebody did it. And we're happy that President Trump is the commander-in-chief specifically in that regard. 608
U.S. troops died during the Iraq War, directly tied to him. I want to get your reaction as Secretary of State Pompeo. He weighed in on the situation in Iran earlier this morning on Fox and Friends. Listen.
President Trump made the decision. A serious decision, which was necessary. There was an imminent attack. The orchestrator, the primary motivator for the attack was Qasem Soleimani, attempted to disrupt that plot. You all have been talking this morning about the history of who Qasem Soleimani is. He's got hundreds of American lives, blood on his hands. But what was sitting before us was his travels throughout the region and his efforts to make a significant strike against Americans. There would have been many Muslims killed as well, Iraqis, people in other countries as well.
Congressman, your reaction.
Once again, if we would have allowed Soleimani to continue planning and carrying out an attack on American interest, including the embassy, then the criticism would have been what did the administration know and when did they know it and why didn't they do something about it? So there's always going to be a healthy amount of concern and an oversight, as there should be. But let's remember, again, this is an Iranian who's a terrorist in a terrorist organization that's operating in Baghdad, Iraq, the country that we helped to liberate. There's absolutely no reason legitimate reason for him to be at Baghdad International Airport planning attacks on U.S. interests, and the president did the right thing by ordering and confirming the strike.
Well, everyone's getting back to work in D.C., and this is going to be, I'm sure, topic number one. Congressman Scott Perry. Congressman, thank you.
Thank you.